I missed my monitor at home. All right. So in my form, I want to call it input form. Bless you. Okay. Outside of my PHP block. Now I'm going to leave that little block in there as a reminder that this is actually a PHP document. Outside of that, I'm going to create a form. And as I go, I'll explain things. So method equals post. So I have a couple different ways in which I can get information from my form to my handler. One of them is post. Action equals, this is going to be the name of the file in which I'm going to send it to. That file, I have to tell it where the file is. If all I do is put handler here, that means that handler exists in the same folder, the same directory as the form. If it's in a different directory, I have to change it accordingly. So make sure you type in handler.php. It does exist in the same place. Now I'm also going to come right now down at the bottom, and I'm going to put a form way down here so I don't lose this. I just want to make sure I'm closed up appropriately. I've still got a lot more stuff to write in here. We're going to start kind of small like we always do. So field set, again, what that's going to do is it's going to draw a line around whatever I want. It's just going to help me see things. So I'm going to go ahead and close off my field set as well. And you'll see what I mean about what that is. So I'm going to accept, I'm going to ask the user for their first name, their middle initial, and their last name. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take those three variables in a post, send it over as an array to my handler, and then I'm going to take each piece of information out of that associative array, and I'm going to output it for the user to read. That's all I'm going to do in the beginning. Nothing real fancy. So I'll do the first. You figure out the other ones. Label. Whoops. First name. All right. What the label is, off to the side of a text box, we're putting a label next to that text box telling the user what we want in there. The next thing we want is we want to do an daggone it. Because it's actually down too low. All right. Right underneath of that, we're going to do an input. We have multiple types of input. We're going to make this a text input. So input type text. Name, this is my identifier. Name equals first, meaning that's the name of the variable. Data type, text. Identifier, first. Completely in your control. I want to close that off, and then I want to put a break underneath of that as well. Now you go ahead and create the other two. You need a middle name and a last name. So you're going to have two more text box. Don't copy and paste. You'll get yourself in trouble. You can save it and run it. You can't do anything. We haven't even put a button in there yet. I'm waiting on everybody to get caught up. Stick a button in. If you know how to stick a button in, feel free. Stick a button in. Call it whatever you want. When you send it to your handler, though, your handler doesn't do anything yet. HTML is pretty flexible. Other languages aren't. And that's the problem. It's because HTML isn't strict. I never remember where the hell it goes. Probably not.
All right, just make sure. Because you got it.
Right, sounds like everybody's pretty caught up. Sounds like you're pretty caught up. So the last thing I need to put in over here is a button. All right? We don't have a button to actually submit anything. So it's still going to go inside of my form, but outside of my field set. My field set is going to be a box that's going to wrap around this. And then I'm going to put my button outside my field set. Button type equals submit. Inside of here, this is where I say what I want to write on the button, right? Submit to handler. And then close your button. So right here, you can put anything you want in here. After I've done that, I want to move over to my handler. We don't have a lot going on. If you want to save everything, that's fine, but we don't have a lot going on yet. So over here in my handler, what I'd like to do is I'd like to take that associative array, so you can see that's an associative array. That hurt like hell. Myself in the eye with my glasses. I want to output that using a for each loop. So I want to say for each, just so you can see this, for each post as element. Hold on, I forgot a dollar sign on my element. Now again, the only reason I'm doing this is I want you to see that post is an associative array. You could do print R for the post as well, and it would work just as well. So it works for me whenever I do it. I just do a simple output. Again, you could do a print R. If you do a print R, it'll output the key value for you and the element, which is kind of cool to see. Try that. Can't remember myself how to use print R. That's okay. I'll figure it out later. I'm terribly concerned about it. All right, now that I've done that and I've played with that, I want to comment it out. I want to leave it in there so that if I ever want to go back to it, it's a great debugging solution. When you're building things, let's make sure you're getting everything. Let's do an output of everything. Make sure that you're getting all of the variables over that you think. But from here out, we're going to refer to the individual elements inside of my associative array by the individual identifier that we did over here in HTML. So I'm going to construct a print statement that says, hello, associative array at position first. Right now it should be Michael. Associative array at position middle. And then associative array, I forgot my underscore, at position last. Well, no, because it's just a regular print. Yeah, we're still, oh, you know what? You know what's going to happen? Anybody know what's going to happen? If I try to run this, think like a parser. Going to get an error. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So I could escape these guys out. Or you should be able to use single quotes too. does not like that. I mean, I want to go back and try to use single quotes. And if that fails, I'll show you another way. That's what happens when I deviate from the script. All right. Deviated from the script. That's what I get for deviating from the script. And I probably never should have done that because that's a bad programming habit. So I want to say f name, and I want to set that equal to this. And then I want to say m name, and set that equal to this. I want to say L name, set that equal to this. Give me one sec. There we go. So. It's actually a bad programming habit. The way that I was teaching you, Let me tell you why.
Okay.
When we start inserting stuff into a database, we want to always cleanse whatever we accept from the user before we manipulate it or insert it into a database. If we don't do that, we can open ourselves to a SQL injection or a cross-site script hack. Okay? So that's why we always want to, and we're not even cleansing it right now with the stuffing it into, and we're not even to actually stripping any slashes off or looking for white space or anything like that. But that's how SQL injection hacks happen, is people figure out that the programmer is stuff straight into the database or straight into a variable without checking to make sure that there's no backslashes or anything in there. If they're in there, I might be able to send a command to the database to get it to do something. That's SQL injection. So, all right. As I was telling Devin, I kind of was teaching a bad programming habit. Let's always do it this way. Put it into a variable first and then print it out. All right. I want to show you something, and then we're going to keep on kind of keep on trucking a little bit here. Whoa. If you type in HTML5, one of your first hits is going to be W3 Schools. When it comes to learning, I don't like watching videos. I know you like watching videos, but they're slow and they're cumbersome in the learning process. If I'm learning to put new brakes on a car where I don't know where something is, that's different. But once you have experience, like you all do, you need to start reading. So if we go to W3 Schools and we type in HTML5 and we click on the drop down, we can come in here and scroll down until we see HTML forms. And look under HTML forms, it has form elements and input types. So when we click on that, we can see, gee, here's a text input type. It shows you what it looks like. Here's a password input type. This, we'll put the little dots over it. Here's the submit. Here it teaches you how to reset. Here's a radio. So let's cover some of these. If we just accept text, it's a small input box. We're expecting something kind of small, right? There's actually a box that'll give us like, please input in less than 255 characters something. A radio button input type forces a user to select one and only one option. Are you a male, female, or other? What do they have here? Male, female, and other. Are you a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, other? Right? That is a specific number tied to that. Checkboxes, those enable us to allow a user to select multiple things. All right? Multiple items. Select all that apply to you. Select your 3 favorite teams. Select all the places you've lived, all the countries you've lived. Some people have only lived in one country. Other people lived in multiple. Select the states that you've been to, right? Check all that apply. That's what a checkbox is. A drop-down organizes a large selection for us. So it's like a radio button, except for if we ask, what state do you live in, and you put 50 radio boxes up, it kind of makes the website a little bit messy, right? So instead, we use a drop-down for a very large list of things. And then I showed you the password. Now, as we progress forward in the drop-down, there's an option, and I'll show you it here in a few minutes if we get to it. There's an option that you fill out. This gives us the opportunity to make the drop-down box dynamic. Has anybody ever been to a wizard where it says, like we see this on car websites all the time, select your year, select your model, select your maker, then select your model, right? That's all being dynamically filled. And we can see that here. Let's try one of those out so you can see it. If I type in auto parts, what am I going to get? Advanced auto parts. Nope. Decline discount, please. All right, add a vehicle. So check this out. When I originally click these, while this is probably a static thing, I'll say car, select year. This is all dynamically filled. 2011. If I move ahead, notice I can't click anything, but now I click on make. Let's say Ford. And now I can click on this. It's dynamically populated from a database using a script, either a PHP script or an ASP script or a JavaScript, something that taps into a database. Right now, we're going to make these static. But remember, ultimately, it's about making everything as dynamic and easily usable in the future. I have no idea when any of these are. I don't own a truck, right? So it gives you an idea what we're doing. So now let's move through, and within the form, but above the button, let's play and experiment with a couple of the different things that we have here. Actually, I'm about out of time. I apologize. I wasn't paying attention. I probably owe you 6 minutes. Look for a mini lab based on input and things we've already done in the past. Got it? So if you did well on the previous mini labs, you should do well on the one that's going to be up there for Sunday night. Sound good? All right. Question? Okay. Be right there.